All right. Hey. Can you Sloan?
My catcher back in the country.
We
Finally.
are. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our weekly Tuesday edition, episode 24
Yeah, that's crazy.
of the Tennessee USA Wrestling Power Hour podcast. Man, 24. That's crazy. I'm your
Yeah.
host. Yeah, Mike Hatcher, state chairman, Kenny Sloan, national champ, co host. And we are almost a quarter century old. you know,
Yeah.
I think I'm coming in a little bit better now. I'm actually in the United States. Yeah,
Yeah.
been
This
here
year
since.
we've
Yeah,
got back to our good quality Wi-Fi and everything.
I know. Before I was listening to the podcast last week, um, the rerun on YouTube, and I was like, man, oh, I mean, it was good enough, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Good.
Last week wasn't that bad. It was the week before. That
Oh,
one
the
was
week before.
yeah.
Yeah, I only
Don't
listened
watch
to
that
part of
one.
that one. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to tune into that one because the quality wasn't very good there. That's all right though.
But hey, we're back.
Yeah, but we're back. We're ready to roll. So what's new in your world, Kenya?
What's new in my world? We start practice KGWC, Knoxville Girls Wrestling Club, on Monday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm super excited.
I
We
bet.
had like our banquet with the high school team that I was helping out with this past year. So it was like a nice close to that season. We celebrated, fun chapter. And so now it's like perfectly timing into our new chapter. So
I love it.
going on in my life. I'm excited. We've got some good girls that are already like 100% locked in and coming. And I'm just excited for what the room is going to be. Like,
Oh, I
yeah.
can't wait to hear what it's like.
I just smile when people ask me about it. I start smiling. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is how I know I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
it'll
tell
be
you pumped up,
yeah,
pumped about it. That's awesome.
it'll be good. And I finally get to coach freestyle again. Man, I've been like struggling through the folk style season because it's just. I mean, obviously I know how to wrestle folk style because that's what I
Yeah.
grew up doing. But anyone who's ever done both knows which one is better. I won't say. So I'm just excited to get back to it.
Love it. That's good. Yeah. And now you get to lock your hands on top now. Teach them how to lock
Yeah,
their
yeah,
That's awesome. Good. Like I said, I can't wait to see what goes on with it and how it
yeah,
starts. And because I know it's gonna start probably bigger than what you expect, and then it's gonna grow bigger than you expect. So
yeah,
get ready, Kenya. Get ready.
yeah. I know. Hopefully it goes good. So
you know,
what's going on in the world of my catcher?
nothing. I was at the yeah, it's busy trying to get caught up. I mean, I didn't realize, I knew what I was getting into when I was leaving for that long. But yeah, back at it. I went and watched the NCAA's last week
Yeah,
in Kansas City, which was fantastic. It was awesome. Yeah, it was it's like just it's nationals, so it's the same thing. See a ton of people I haven't seen in a while, so I was really excited about that. Kids that I had coached before previously, did a really nice job. Bernie Truex, obviously Penn State, got fifth All American this year, so he's four-time All American. So didn't quite reach it. He obviously wanted to be national champ, but everybody does. But
yeah,
first-time All American ain't all that
yeah,
bad. It's a pretty solid accomplishment. So I'm super proud of him and Wyatt Henderson, another. I guess you call him a buddy of mine. He got third at heavyweight, and we'll have his coach on here a little bit later. So chatting about that. But yeah, and then of course, I had some other Tennessee kids, and I'll kind of go over through that a little bit. In my section here, just kind of watching them. So yeah, just it's just great running into you know just old friends, and that you only see every now and then. You only see at nationals. So
yeah.
it's such a cool event, though. I mean, it's super
Do you
electric.
go every year?
I haven't been in the last. It's my first time in like 5 years. So I've been kind of because now here's one of the things that's a catch-22 about this because
Mhm.
it's gotten to where it's pretty popular, and
Right.
now it's obviously on all the ESPN channel. They film they do all the sessions live now,
That's
on
awesome.
ESPN, which is awesome, which was unheard of before. So now, um, obviously you can go and be part of this great event and be there live firsthand, or you can watch every round, every match, on ESPN. You can watch it on your phone. So
Yeah.
the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, yeah, I've watched it on my phone. It was except for the COVID year, obviously it didn't happen in Minneapolis, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, last year I was on the beach in Cabo watching it, which was cool, and a sky pool in Cabo. Year before I was in Colombia, so No, the year before I was in Charleston with some buddies of mine. He was at a party out there. Year before I was in Columbia. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of torn on which one I like better.
You just have to alternate, every few
Yeah.
years then go I'm sure it's like, well, not I'm sure. Obviously there's a big difference in watching it on your phone versus being there. But
well, I mean, but I was, I was thinking, I was sitting there in the finals, and it is cool. I mean, the energy in the finals is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I probably watched 75% of the finals on the big screen overhead of the map, because obviously you can see it. It's huge. It's blown up. And then you got the wrestlers down there, and you're like, okay, well, shoot, I can see a lot closer there. So then I'm thinking,
you're like, this looks like oddly similar.
Obviously, pretty similar view than I had last year. And I'm thinking, I don't hear any waves crashing. So I don't know. I mean, Philadelphia is a cool city and all. That's where it's at next year, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I like the beach. I like the kind of the beach thing too. So I don't know. I'll decide then. But then hopefully, we'll start getting some kids here from Middle Tennessee, maybe my club and stuff like that, to start wrestling in it, and then I'll probably have to go back. So so we'll see. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, I would consider going to like our women's national college tournament NAIs if it wasn't in Jamestown, North Dakota.
Oh. Yeah, I don't suggest that one either. That's quite a ways. Yeah. But I'm not sure if I do that either. Yeah.
I watched on my computer from home.
Yeah.
Congratulated my buddy afterwards. I was like, I'll see you when you get home.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, good. Yeah. But other than that, just got to get caught up. I need to. And then, like I said, I told you this, now I'm back to my Tuesday right out of practice podcast,
Yeah. We're not at your house anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Because during the season, like our I guess fall winter season, we only practice twice a week. So my Tuesdays are, I'm usually doing that podcast from my apartment. And but now I'm here at Brentwood Academy. I usually leave practice at about 6:45, and my assistant coaches take over, and I jump on the podcast. So yeah, again, if there's ever any doubt on how good I would do this podcast, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Which I don't know if the ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many people we're gonna have tuning in live tonight. A lot of them watch it, secondhand anyway. But I forgot to shoot out the reminder that our podcast we do.
We're gonna have our guests.
Yeah. So we might have our live viewers might be down a little bit this week, but yeah, we'll see. So I'll make sure I shoot it out tomorrow and make sure I remind everybody that we had a great podcast tonight. So, but yeah. That's that. But well, let's start getting into it. I guess we had some pretty decent Tennessee success in the girls' college. Basically, we're going to use this as a college wrap up. A little bit. A little bit. I actually there's a couple guests that I couldn't lock down for this week, and I'll kind of discuss them a little bit when I'm talking the boys' side. So maybe I might see about getting them on. But really, kind of we wanted to use this particular show tonight to really kind of highlight the national tournaments at the collegiate level that has some Tennessee ties, which I think is super important. Obviously, that's the end goal right there as far as getting kids to college and getting them wrestled at the next level. Yeah. And we're going to start with the girls. So how do we do on the girls' side? The Tennessee ties.
We did good.
Yeah.
I was trying to narrow down all the girls that I know of. Well, I knew the ones that I knew of, and I was trying to find if there was any more. I don't think we have any girls from the state of Tennessee wrestling or that wrestled in the NCAA tournament on the girls' side. We have colleges in Tennessee. So King University has a women's program, and they're in like Bristol. And so they did pretty good in the tournament, all in all. King University, back whenever I was like looking to go to school, was like between King and Campbellsville University were like the two programs plus Simon Fraser. And so King University is one of the very first programs to add women's wrestling, let alone like altogether they used to be in one big league. They all wrestled in the WCWA before they split up between sanctioned by the NAIA and NCAA and stuff like that. And so it's cool to have that like in our backyard. I don't know if a lot of people realize that probably one of the first 5 programs in the U.S. to like sanction and have a successful girls wrestling team is in Tennessee. So that's King University, and the NCAAs. We didn't have any like individual athletes who were like from our home state wrestling in that tournament. And then at NAIAs, we had 2 that I was able to find. And if there's more, please forgive me, tell us, let us know so we can make sure we give them recognition next week. But Maggie Graham, who's from Bartlett, she wrestles at Life University now. She's a freshman this year. She did really, really good in the MSC conference. And she came into the national tournament. Well, she qualified. She was unseeded. She had she made her way through the bracket, I think 2 matches deep, and then she lost and was in the consolation bracket. So she didn't end up placing or All-American this year. But the fact that she was able to, as a freshman, make it to the national tournament is a really, really big deal and worth recognition.
Yeah, for sure.
So congrats to Maggie Graham.
Congrats, Maggie.
Congrats, Maggie.
Maggie's awesome. She
is awesome.
Yeah, she's a great girl.
She is so sweet. She's like hard not to root for, no matter that. I'm sure even her like opponents like want to be friends with her. She's just
absolutely.
So congrats, Maggie. And then the other female that we had was Emma Walker, who we've had on this podcast before, and who we'll have later. Hint, hint. So she's from Clarksville, Tennessee. She wrestles at Campbellsville University. So this was my partner whenever I was there. This is her senior year. She wrestled. I guess we'll have to talk about it when she gets on here. We'll just say Emma took second place in the tournament, and we'll talk about her journey to get there later when we have her on the show. And then the third person who I want to talk about, we will also get to have on here, Genesis Gilmore, our national champion of our podcast today.
Well,
you want to pull her on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Why not?
Welcome,
there she is. What'd you say about her, Kenya? National what?
Yeah, this is the national champion of our
national
podcast.
Champion. My goodness.
How does that make you feel, Genesis?
Unbelievable still.
Yeah. Do you walk around campus with your chest a little bit taller? No. Yeah. That's not surprising. Well, welcome, Genesis. Everyone, this is Genesis Gilmore. She won the NCJAA national tournament at, what weight did you wrestle?
155.
That's what I thought. At 155. She's from Clarksville, Tennessee. She was 4-time state medalist in our wonderful state. And your senior year, you won the state tournament. And this is her freshman. This is your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
This is her freshman year, and she went to the national tournament, and she won the national tournament at Indian Hills. Sorry, I was about to say Indiana. At Indian Hills. So congratulations and welcome.
Also a Fargo All-American, right, Genesis? You were one of our Fargo All-Americans back in the day too. Yeah, that's how I met Genesis. And she's pretty. She's not going to walk out with the chest, it's taller and all. She's pretty humble, though. She's pretty dang tough. Very tough. Very, very humble though. She's awesome.
Yeah. I got to meet Genesis. We met once before whenever I did a camp in Clarksville. And when I got to the camp, Coach Doug Badon was like, I'd never met you before. And I'd been like kind of disconnected from the state. And he kept pointing you out. He was like, yeah, if you get a chance, like if you do some wrestling, you should go wrestle with her over there. And I was like, I'm not getting beat up by this Genesis girl. Come on. And so that was my first and only encounter up until now with Genesis. And so we got to learn together. And even then, Coach Hatcher is talking about just how humble you are, and you're saying you're not walking around with your chest out. But even then, like I met an athlete who was just, you would have never known that you had so much success, just someone who was like hungry to learn and fun to get to teach. So that's like the perfect example of an athlete. And it's awesome to hear that you're doing so great now that you're in college and representing us well.
Hey.
Yeah. How's it been since you transitioned from Tennessee to Iowa and wrestling from high school versus wrestling in college?
It was a huge change, especially being away from home that far. Meeting new people also helped really well. And, just took me a while to get, comfortable, but, it all worked out.
Yeah. Tell us about your recruiting process a little bit. Like, when did you decide that you knew you wanted to wrestle in college, and how did you end up at Indian Hills?
Well, after my senior year, I didn't really want to wrestle in college because I don't know what I was looking for yet. But then it was like all these coaches saying like, you should go check out Indian Hills, or are you going to wrestle in college or whatever, something like that. And I was like, I'm not sure yet because I haven't made up my mind. But then it was just, they reached out to me. And then, I was like, let me just, go because, I don't like traveling that far, being away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we went, looked at the campus, and I was just like, the energy felt right. And, it just sort of kind of just happened. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, they got kind of lucky, huh? It just kind of sort of happened. Yeah, they got so lucky to have you. Were there any other places that you were looking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
University of the Cumberlands was looking at live, and Campbellsville University. I was looking at those three. But
did you get to visit any of the other schools that you said?
I visited University of the Cumberlands, Campbellsville, and I didn't tour around life, but I did practice with the team.
Okay. So the other programs that you're saying are pretty like powerhouse programs in the divisions that they're in. So what like ultimately won you over when you went to Indian Hills? Like when you were there, what made you be like, yeah, this is where I need to be?
Pretty much how close the team was. Like from what they were saying, it was just like a whole bond. They were really looking after each other really well, and just looking from the videos, it's just like they're just really close. And so then when I got here, I actually saw like how close everybody was.
Yeah. Is it similar to, I know you were pretty close with your high school team when you were here. Is it pretty like similar? Do you feel like you went from one family to another?
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell us about the actual tournament. Where was the tournament, first of all?
Council Bluffs, Iowa.
There you go.
Okay. So
you're making yourself all around that state then. Because Indian Hills, Indian Hills is Ottumwa.
Mm-hmm. No. The other campus is Ottumwa.
Okay. The other. Which one's your campus in?
Centerville.
Oh, Centerville. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's right. There are two campuses. And then now you can be all the way to Council Bluffs. You're just seeing all of Iowa. Yeah.
You guys are speaking a foreign language to me. I'm just like, yeah.
I know. Iowa is a foreign language. It is. It's a little different. It's different, but it's awesome.
Yeah. So your turn. So how far away is where's the tournament at again? Help me.
Council Bluffs.
Okay, Council Bluffs. How far is that from where you're going to school?
I think it's about 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys drove out there. You had maybe a day before the tournament?
Yes.
Yeah, and then what was it like whenever you got there? Were there any matches that you were like specifically planning for, training for, or you were just like going in and going to wrestle?
Honestly, I knew nobody. I didn't look at the brackets. I was actually pretty nervous because I was like, I'm about to be on a stage again. So I didn't really know anybody, so I didn't really look at it. So I was just ready to wrestle. I just wanted to get that first match, see how I feel. I was still kind of nervous that first one, and once I got that passed, I calmed my nerves down. I supported my teammates and stuff like that. And then just waiting on my next matches to come. So
So going through the bracket, were there any matches that give you a lot of trouble, or you walked through it pretty easily? You can be honest. I feel like
I mean, no, but it was just trying to calm my nerves down because I just get really nervous for no reason. Yeah. But I just got
toughest opponent was you that day?
Pretty much, yes.
Hey, that's not too bad. I mean, that's a pretty good opponent. That's awesome. How did the other girls on your team do?
They did pretty well. There were they were also nervous too, I can tell. But the freshmen, they did really well. They grew a lot since from the beginning. Some didn't even really know freestyle or haven't been wrestling for that long. And the fact that they made it that far was really good, especially for a national tournament. Yeah. So I was really impressed by that. And I was like, you got it next year, even if you didn't place. But the ones who did place, they're going to be hungry next year. So
Yeah, Genesis brought up a really good point there about some of them having not have a whole lot of freestyle experience. I wish, and not saying that women's wrestling is new, because it's been around, a little while, but obviously not nearly as long as the guys has. I wish they would just go all freestyle.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah, no, in high school, I just think it would it would. I don't even know why. I mean, the boys, from a boys' perspective, I get it. You got a lot of traditionalists, a lot of purists, that really don't want to see the folk style wrestling go away in the United States, especially on the guy side. But on the girl side, I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to teach them, folk style, when really, even when they get out of high school, it's not like they're going to go to a college and wrestle folk style. It's going to be all freestyle. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, here I get it. You're going to go to the University of University of Michigan, and the guy side, and you're going to wrestle, folk style. You're going to do that all the way through your college career. But the girls is different. I wish that the high schools would just, boom, do it all freestyle.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually, Genesis, you give us your input too, but I want to pick Hatch's brain because you're more of like, I don't know, like a nerd of the sport than I am. I hope that's not insulting. I hope it's a compliment. But like, yeah, you are. So like,
I'm just more of a nerd. I'm more of a nerd than you are in general, Kenya. So
maybe it's always. But how did do you know how the U.S. came upon folk style wrestling in the first place? Like what? Because I mean, like Olympics, starting big, like Olympics and World Championships, there's only freestyle wrestling, and so how did we develop this in the United States, or why was it even a thing? Do you know?
Honestly, I have no clue.
Yeah, same here. I honestly have no clue.
I don't know.
It's always been like this. I don't know. Yeah. It's actually a really good question. I think I need to dig into that a little bit.
Okay. Hey, we've got homework before.
I like that. But
I think you got 3 people right here that agree that. Well, Hatch, I might be putting words in your mouth, but I'm gonna go into anyway. Freestyle is the best style of wrestling, and
freestyle best.
and I agree that I think it doesn't make sense for females because it also just kind of puts us in a pickle, right, Genesis? You had to. I mean, I just remember wrestling folk style for over 10 years of my life, and then my club coach, one day was like, "Hey, we gotta learn how to do freestyle," and I was like. Why would I do that? I was like, it felt like learning a different sport and it felt unfair. Yeah. So when did you first start to transition into freestyle wrestling? Obviously, I know you wrestled at Fargo. So was that your first year?
It started my 8th grade year. I wrestled freestyle going into folk style because I started out as doing freestyle, doing AAU. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that one was I actually really like freestyle more than folk style. I didn't even know folk style as much yet. So when I got into it, it was too much work. But I wrestled through that. But yeah, so freestyle was just my first one to go to.
That's awesome. Wow. I wish I would have. Yeah, I wish all girls should probably be doing it that way. I know there's some of the more successful programs in our state even are trying to teach mostly freestyle and then just supplement full style skills for obviously wrestling within the state. So that's awesome. Genesis, yeah. I don't know if you did it on purpose or not, but you definitely played your cards right. It looks like it's paying off. Well, before we let you go, tell us a little bit about what it means to be able to represent the state that you come from and your high school that you've come from here in Tennessee and be able to wrestle on the college scene and have so much success. You're representing us all the way in Iowa. I've never even been there. So many of us never have. So, I mean, what does it mean to you to come from Tennessee?
Honestly, I really have no clue. I mean, it's always been. I really can't put words together right now, but
tell us now that you've done it, right? You've wrestled in Tennessee, you had success here, you've gone to a different stage and you're having success there. So to all the girls who are still in Tennessee wrestling, in high school or even younger who want to be where you are, what advice would you give them to get
explore, get out of your comfort zone because that's what I had to do. So I mostly had recognition in Tennessee, but I didn't have a bigger name yet. It was just Tennessee until I went out, going to Fargo, North Dakota, going to different states that I've never been in. So it's just the comfort zone, believing in yourself, because I didn't think I would be able to get this far. I thought I was just going to stop in high school. So, but it's just go explore, get out your comfort zone, and you'll really see how far you can actually go.
That's great advice.
That's outstanding advice.
It
Honestly,
really is. I think a lot of the girls in our state need to hear it too.
I think a lot of boys in our state need to hear the same thing.
Yeah, totally. On both sides, but
Absolutely.
girls especially. Like, we don't
Absolutely.
get to see a lot of girls go do what you're doing, and so I think for a lot of females in our area, it's hard to even imagine it or picture it. Like they're like, well, I mean, I don't see anyone else that I know doing that, so like, why would I do it? Even though it's a great thing. So I think that's like the most perfect advice. It might seem uncomfortable, or maybe no one else you know is doing it or laying the path for you, but that's great advice from Genesis Gilmore, national champion. I'd say it's worth listening to.
I know, and she went out there and freaking explored and went outside the state boundaries, and now look at her. Now she's a national champ. Can't beat that, huh?
Nope.
Well, do us a favor
Awesome.
and come back and help us get even better here in Tennessee once you're done having fun in Iowa.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Do you have anything for Genesis, Hatch? Before
No, we're super proud of you, Genesis. I mean, like I said, not only your state representation when you were here in Clarksville and on the Fargo level and all that type of stuff, but now you're making us even just as proud, if not more proud, on the college level. And you just keep doing your thing. You're awesome, and you're just gonna keep representing us in a positive way. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us your time, Genesis. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Bye-bye. And she's awesome. Yeah, she did great. Yeah, she did great. That's awesome. National champ. Good for her.
And still so humble about it, truly. I mean, personally, I just have so much respect from someone who can just keep their head down and work hard and do great things. And I mean, just be like, yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, won a national championship. It's all good. Whatever. Yeah. Love it. Well, you got another guest here, Kenya. Yeah, I think you're more familiar with this one, right? Not because we had her on the podcast before, but you
I met her a few times before. She's in the waiting room. I had to get onto her because I didn't think she was going to join.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like calling her before the show, and she's probably laughing right now. Do you want to go and bring her on?
Yeah, I'll bring her on. There she is.
Hey, I'm sorry, I was late. I got the times mixed up.
You're good. You're right on time for what?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I thought my time was like 8:10. I looked back at the thing and it said 8:10. I was like, oh no.
It's okay. We were chopping it up.
Okay, good.
This is Emma Walker, everyone. She's been on the show before, so if you've been hanging out with us on Power Podcast for a little bit, her face might be familiar, but her face might also be familiar because she's obviously a fellow Tennessean, wrestled in Clarksville, Tennessee. She's been at Campbellsville University ever since, and she's a 4-time All-American, two-time national finalist.
Dang.
Yep, and most recently, so just a few weeks ago, you took second place at the NAIA National Tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that tournament. Well, this is personal. Also, I'll go back, Hatch. This is my best friend in the entire world, so I'm like trying so hard to be formal right now. Literally, my best friend. And this is my
really hard for us to do that.
Yeah. We want to see the real thing here with you two.
No, you don't.
There we go.
I don't know if you do.
You want to see that?
I don't know if you do.
So this is my best friend, and this was also, my drill partner and training partner for the years that we were at Campbellsville together. It was like people had to try and fight if they wanted to drill with MRI because we were pretty glued to each other. So I also have some insight, and I know you're giving it off in your like aura right now that your second place finish was not what you wanted. Yeah. So walk us through the tournament, how you got to the finals, because I know your way to the finals wasn't easy either. But tell us, like, what was your expectation going into the tournament, and then just like walk us through your bracket and how it went.
Well, prior at MSC, I was wrestling in a match, and I don't know what happened during that match, but I got concussed, and then I got taken out of the tournament, which caused me to like semi-slide. I don't really know how to explain that, but so that means I was seated 6th in the tournament going into nationals.
So at the end of MSC, like truthfully, you didn't even know if you're going to a national tournament. You had to get a wild card bid, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was really scared about that, but I ended up getting the wild card, thank God. I had to take a week off practice, which was really hard because we only had 2 weeks to like really fully prepare for nationals. So I was kind of like behind on that. But I had 1 week to like get right. So I guess that was good that I was able to get at least a week. But yeah, I had to take off a whole week for my concussion, and that was tough, just sitting out and dealing with that. But going into the tournament, I had really heavy doubts about, my seating and like my concussion and all that, and just not being prepared. I was just really down on myself. But I think my bracket was set up pretty good. Got my way to the second day, and it was tough, and then made my way to the finals, and,
Mm-hmm.
and then got runner up. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how it went.
Yeah. So you're the opponent that you had in the finals from life. This is someone that you've like have some history with competing
Mhm.
at least over the past few years. So like leading up to it, even though obviously like your training looks a little bit different because of your concussion, did you do any like planning specifically for that match, kind of anticipation that you would have her in the finals?
Yeah, I did foresee some of the things that she would do. Just some moves that she would do, and I would try to practice like reacting to it and stuff like that. And then finals came, and she just really beat me up. So
Yeah.
it was just I couldn't really like, I don't know. It just feels like a blur to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, wrestling her, we've been back and forth a few times, and then senior night, she teched me. So, I got in my head a lot about that too. So I think that also took into the national tournament. She already had one up on me, so I was like, okay, this is gonna be hard. But,
Yeah. I mean, that's a very real thing. I think it's awesome to hear it from someone who's like, I mean, competing in the finals of the college national tournament, to be able to say like, yeah, sometimes I get in my head too. And it's like, same with Genesis when we just had on, like she said, her biggest opponent in her national tournament was herself, and just like kind of getting out of her head and fighting those nerves. And I mean, I talk to my athletes all the time, and Hatch, you probably do too, about how like wrestling, what you do on the mat, like with your body, learning how to cut a corner on your high crotch, like those are skills, but also being able to like navigate your emotions, like that's also a skill you have to learn whenever you are in a sport. I mean, as intense as ours.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think to be able to hear this journey, I know it's not super fun sometimes to talk about it, but I mean, to be able to hear this from two of the like highest level female athletes from our state, and just to hear and like invalidate it, I think is super awesome. Like this is a real problem, and it's something that you have to learn. Like you're not just born learned how to like navigate anxiety
be
and
mentally tough in the sport of wrestling.
Yeah,
It's the most mentally tough sport, I swear. Like there's no sport that compares to the amount of hardship that your mind takes, and because it's just you out there. It's not you and your team. It's you individually, yourself. If you fall short of your own goals, it's like, well, that was me out there, and I feel like that's how I feel a lot when I, don't reach my goals and stuff. But I just got to keep looking up, looking for the next opportunity that arises, and just try to do my best at the next thing.
Yeah, our sport's so it's crazy, like the training. And I mean, obviously you look at the sport of wrestling and everybody looks at, just the type of intensity and just the hard physical work that goes into it. But then there's these old sayings, like wrestling's 90% mental and whatever, or 90% mental, 10% whatever. I mean, it's, that's been thrown around, and it's so many different, equations and ratios. And it's crazy because you go back and you look at your training, and your training's probably 95% physical. I mean, the coaches probably put you through, like, when it comes to drilling, hard wrestling, running, conditioning, lifting, all that stuff. I would all like classify that as, I mean, you could classify a lot of it as mental, putting them into pain zone and stuff like that, out of their comfort area. But at the end of the day, they are physical, like physical, trainings of the sport. Whereas very, very, very few spend time to talk athletes through, certain situations, and to where they're visualizing and and just kind of learning how to breathe and focus and stuff like that into the high pressure situations. And I think that's one thing a lot of people like kind of leaving the table when it comes to preparing, especially for bigger events. And you listen to like the really, really, really elite athletes that we have, like, your Jordan Burroughs, your Kyle Dakes, your these guys like put a lot of time and effort into their focus and preparing that way and preparing through. I'm not saying meditation, not to say they all meditate, but or like just running mental imagery through their heads and stuff like that. There's so much of that goes on at the very, 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 very highest of levels. It's crazy. And I think we as coaches, and I'm guilty of this consistently, we're just so much into the physical part and not so much in the mental part. And I think that would be a huge advantage if you started incorporating a lot more of that. So
I agree.
I think it would help for sure.
Yeah,
but
I remember
wrestling's such a macho sport. It's like, I don't want to spend time out of conditioning and to where we're
mentally
doing mental training. That's just another way.
Yeah.
So I say I'd like to do it now, but I'm probably who knows.
And especially women too, because we're more emotional and we rely on our emotions. And I know for me, if I'm emotional in a match, that will affect how I perform. And we're just more all around emotional. So that mental stuff is important to us.
The high level female coaches that I have met understand that, I think, to a different level, because it's personal more so than, or maybe they can just recognize it more easily. And I've seen, and I'm just so proud to see so many like coaches, female coaches, and even men who are coaching females who are outside their comfort zone, just like trying to do what's best, like actually take initiative with this like mindset, like emotional aspect of training. I've seen it. I will have to shout out Eric Everard in Colorado, who I coach with for just a little bit, but he would take the first 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes of practice just to talk about mindset training. And I remember thinking the first time that I was like in his room, I was like, geez, shouldn't we be like, breathing heavy or sweating right now? But it is, if you have the best stamina and the most strength, but you don't have a good grasp on how to regulate your emotions when you're in a match, then there's a cap to how far you can go. So I think it's cool. And I think, truthfully, this is another way that like advancing coaches and athletes in female wrestling is going to like bleed into helping men's wrestling, because like this is going to be more normal and less taboo, and we're going to talk about it. And I think it's going to bleed into the guys side of wrestling and like really change it too.
I think it's crazy that like I've never been taught how to regulate my emotions during a match. Like I've never had a coach that like has actually taught that, or like even sat down with me to like ask me how I'm doing, like mentally,
Yeah.
So weird. If I'm a coach, I would do that to my team.
Literally, that's what I just said. I was like, now when you and I are coaching together someday,
we're gonna build up some strong, mental-minded individuals.
There you go.
I don't have any question about that. I figured you guys are sure gonna do that.
Yeah. So Emma, you like slightly mentioned how you were like comparing wrestling to other sports. You're a dual sport athlete in college. I guess I don't know if I made it that term. So what other sports do you play at CU?
Flag football.
Flag football.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less pressure playing that than wrestling.
I was gonna.
Plus, you can blame people if
like,
people,
that was quarterback. Yeah.
So tell us what's it like being like a two-sport athlete in college. Like you living away from home. You live by yourself. You got to manage your classwork and your schedule. You're training for not only one but two sports. So you're weight training whenever you're not at practice. Like, how do you manage this like lifestyle?
Well, during wrestling season, I told my flag coach knows that like wrestling comes first, and that I put that before anything else, sport wise. So he was very good with me putting that first, and like going like when it got closer to nationals to just focus on wrestling and not even worry about flag, because flag season is in the spring. So now it's like it's go time for flag, and wrestling season is over. So during wrestling season, it was easy kind of because we had flag practice in the evenings and then wrestling practice in the mornings, and then we had lift in the middle of the day. So it wasn't too hard to do that, and I'm glad that he was able to work with me with putting wrestling first and allowing me to prioritize that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So give us a little look for if there's someone, because here's another real battle I think we have in Tennessee about girls wanting to wrestle in college, is a lot of girls maybe do other sports too. Like they originally played basketball or lacrosse or soccer, and then the wrestling coach was like, hey, you should come try wrestling, and then they end up really, really good at wrestling, but they're also like, well, I have this other sport that I would like also love to do. So it is like an option for people to do both. So like tell us what is like a day in the life of Emma Walker, from the time you wake up in the morning, what to the end of the day, what do you do?
So usually we have wrestling practice at 5:30 a.m. It's 6 now because it's postseason, but 5:30 in the morning, 2 hours, get in, get out. After that, I have afternoon classes because I try to stay away from the early morning 8 a.m.s if I can. And for the most part, I've been able to do that all 4 years. I don't know how I was able to do that, but then I have classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11, just at 11. And then I have no more classes. Usually have lift those days at like 12 or something like that. And then after that, if I'm doing flag, I'll go at 3:30 to 5:30. And that's how my days look.
Day in the life. It's doable. It's possible. If Emma Walker can do it, you can do it, girl.
And I would say to people that are wanting to be dual sport athlete, if you have a passion in something that's not wrestling, go for that passion, because my passion before wrestling was soccer, and I didn't choose to do soccer in college just because I had started wrestling and I just excelled in that, and I didn't think I would get there with soccer as much. And, you know, I'm glad that I did it because of how much I've excelled at wrestling in college. But if I could, I would love to play soccer too, but it's just hard because they're both at the same time. And wrestling is a big commitment. So if you're wanting to do two sports, wrestling would probably have to be like, if you're serious about it, it's a big commitment to mentally and physically. It's just all around.
Yeah.
Got to devote a lot of time and effort if you want to succeed. So.
Sure. Wow. So what's next? This is your 4th year. This is your senior year. No pressure to answer this question, but you've got next year of eligibility. So what's next in the life of Emma as far as wrestling goes?
I still need to talk to Coach Miracle about that.
Yeah, maybe talk to him before you disclose.
I know. Well, I need to talk to. I'm probably going to talk to him tomorrow, but So I'm not on track to graduate. So I'll either be graduating next semester when I get back in the fall. So I'll be either graduating in December. But then if I did that, I don't think I'll be able to wrestle like the whole year. I don't really know how it works. So that's why I have to talk to him.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about doing like 12 credits one semester and 12 the next, just so I can wrestle and like kind of split it up. Cause I think I have about 6 credits hours. One of the other that I have to do. So if I do 3, I don't know how the math works, but if I split it up, maybe that will work, but I don't know.
Are you doing any wrestling in this off season? So we've got like last chance qualifier, U23s.
Yeah. So I'm going to U23s. I thought about doing the last chance qualifier, but I just don't think I'm ready for that. I just think that, you know, doing something smaller, less stress on me, and I think I would get further into that because at the U.S. Open, I went 2-2, and and wrestling has just been a lot on my mental recently. And
well, U23 is gonna make a world team there.
Yeah. Give me an excuse to go on vacation somewhere so I can watch you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try.
We'll need to, you know, make
for sure. I'll make sure that
we'll need to be covering that with our podcast show.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's some beach destination that they have this World Championships.
Yeah, I hope so.
Nice. Then I'll leave Kenya in charge of all the podcast stuff, and I'll go hang out at the beach all day.
Heck yeah!
Whoa. Come on,
we can do the podcast in the beach.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Emma, before we let you go, tell us what it means to you to represent our state of Tennessee. I mean, you're absolutely kicking butt on the college scene. Without a doubt, there are girls who look up to you and say, I want to be where Emma Walker is one day. That's kind of like a nice little weight to hold on your shoulder. So like, what does it mean to like come from Tennessee where girls wrestling is still growing and to be able to like make a name for yourself on the college and national scene in college?
I think it's great. You know, if people look up to me, I just want to be a good role model for them. And I'm just glad to come from like a smaller wrestling state and just like seeing it grow and knowing that like the girls that are in the state can do something so much more, and like other states when they come to college is just a great opportunity. I'm glad that it's growing, and I'm happy to see girls coming from Tennessee to go to college and wrestle, and I'm glad to see where it goes. So.
Yeah, me too. Awesome.
Awesome answer.
Well, good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you so much for joining us.
Emma,
Thank you.
congrats again on another All-American finish. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Super-
Thanks for having me on here.
Super proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Bye, buddy.
All right. See you, Emma.
Bye.
That's it right there. Kenya's drill partner, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, BFF and drill partner.
So much, man. There's just so much history. Like, she knows
bet.
the best and worst parts of me, so it's awesome to have. I mean, that's what wrestling does, though. It brings out the
That's
best parts of you and the worst parts of you.
There's, I mean, you know, everybody's got bad and good. That's the way it
Mhm.
works. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, hey, two great guests in the girls' side. We had some good success there on the national level from the college standpoint, Tennessee. So on the boys' side, we did okay. We had some guys, you know, that did all right. In the NAIAs, Cumberland, actually, we had Coach Hicks on the podcast a while ago. The team finished 8th, so top 10 finish for him. Congratulations to Coach Hicks, his 133-pounder, who got some Tennessee blood in him. Sammy Shires had a great tournament, 8th place at 133. So congrats to him. And then at the D3s, we had DeJohn Glaster, who actually wrestled for Oakland. He was an All-American, got 6th place at 174 in the D3 championships for Millikan school there. And in the D1s, we actually had some D1. We had 3 Tennessee guys in the guys D1 championships. We had at 125, which is kind of ironic. We had Cooper Flynn and Braden Palmer, who we've had in the podcast before. They were both ex-Tennessee guys at 125, and they ended up wrestling first round.
Oh no!
with Cooper, it was a really good match, very hotly contested match, but it was a pretty close match. Cooper Flynn won that one, but they both went 1 and 2 at the 125-pound division. And then at 157, we had Braden Palmer wrestles for UT Chattanooga, Cooper Flynn for Virginia Tech. 157, we had Cody Chittum, who is wrestling at Iowa State. He went 1 and 2 at the 157-pound weight class. So proud of all 3 of those guys just making that tournament. It's crazy, like the difference now in just the amount of like outstanding wrestlers, like world class wrestlers that are in these brackets now. It's just the where our country and the level of wrestling our country is producing right now, especially. Just the amount. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. It's crazy how good these kids are getting at such a young age, and by the time they get to college, we have so many elite level wrestlers. I mean, obviously, you know, granted, back in my day, even the days before, like our guys that were winning, you know, 2-3 national championships, you know, making Olympic teams, winning Olympic gold medalists back in the day. I mean, those guys would have figured it out. They'd still be good. You know, it's not like this era is any better, like from our top guys as it was back then. Because I know that guys that I was wrestling with at college, I know that they would do very, very well these days. I mean, granted, the techniques are a little bit different now, and the positions are a little bit different now, but they would have figured it out. You know, winners are going to win no matter what era it is. You know, so I would put Tom Brands in here against any of these guys. He was pretty good. I don't know. He's calling me crazy. I'd put Kale Sanderson against any of these guys. I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even before me, I mean, talking to my buddy Royce Alger, talked to him last weekend at Nationals. Randy Lewis, I was hanging out with him as well. I put those guys against these guys this day and age. I mean, they'll figure it out. You know, I think the top guys.
And it will be tough too.
Yeah.
It's like in a lot of these weight classes, I mean, in the US, I feel like you don't only have to be, you know, the best kid or athlete in the US in college, but in some cases you might have to be one of the best wrestlers in the world to be able to win our national college tournament.
Oh, we have I mean, world medal, like Dayton Fix is a perfect example.
Yeah.
He's a four-time All-American, world silver medalist, senior level, and has never won an NCAA championship here, which is crazy. I mean, you know, it's just, I mean, and you look at like Vito Arija, who won that bracket and beat Dayton Fix in the finals, defending world champion, lost twice this year. Kid from Lehigh, Crookman.
Yeah, it's a compliment to our country. They're doing.
Yeah, crazy. We got, you know, I mean, at 165, we had multiple world medalists in that division between Keegan O'Toole, world champ, Dave Carr, world champ, Mitchell Messingbrink, couple-time world medal. I mean, It's insane. It's crazy how good our wrestling in the country is, and I can't wait. I mean, 5 years from now, see what it looks like then. So it's awesome. But yeah, that's congrats to all those guys with Tennessee ties. But we are not bringing on an athlete tonight with Tennessee ties. We are bringing in the main man himself. We're going right for the coaching, Kenya Sloan.
Nice.
There he is.
Look at that camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know, ladies and gentlemen, man, myth, and the absolute legend here in Tennessee, Mr. Scottie Boykin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I don't know about all that, but I appreciate
How are we doing, Scottie Boykin?
Hey, we're doing good. We're doing good. I'm hanging out with your boy Cody over here.
Oh my goodness! Is Cody in the background? Where you at, Cody?
He's to the side. Cody, where you at? He's beside me.
Everybody, these are two right here. Oh, there he is. Okay, so Kenya, remember when I shot that text out in Colorado Springs? I was going to bring the three all together, and so these are my boys right here. Right here, Cody and Scottie.
Yep.
Good thing Kitty moved. She said, "I don't want any part of that. I ain't any part of hanging out with those two."
She said she was in Nashville whenever they were at the national duels, and I was like, "Wait, you left already?" Like, oh, okay. Well, guess we scared her away.
That's right. Well, like I said, Scottie, this is Kenya officially. Kenya, Scottie officially.
Nice to see you.
And anybody that's listening to the Tennessee Power Hour podcast, Scottie Boykin is no stranger at all to Tennessee wrestling. Local Murfreesboro guy, Riverdale High School state champ, couple-time NCAA qualifier, ET Chattanooga, assistant coach there. Then went to the Finger Lakes Wrestling Club, Cornell's Wrestling Club, head Finger Lakes coach for a while. And now he is at the United States Air Force Academy.
Hey, as you were, soldier.
As one of their assistants. And not only that, but so his main man is boy, Wyatt Hendrickson, and my boy too. Love that dude. But not only got third last year, but finished at third place finish this year. Actually had a big year. Was junior world champ. Is it junior world champ? U23 world champ this year. So this guy very, very instrumental. So not only was Scottie getting it done on the competitive level, but now is getting it done on the coaching level. And we couldn't be more proud of him being from Tennessee. So
yeah, thank you guys. It's an honor to be from Tennessee, man.
Yep, and that's one thing about Scottie. And I've known Scottie for a long time. We go way back, Kenya. I was actually coaching this dude way back in middle school on like some national team stuff and all that. And we just, we've been pretty tight ever since. But Scottie actually used to go to formals at UTC with my niece.
No.
That's how much I love Scottie because yes, that's how much I love Scottie. Yep. So
those were a good time.
Yeah. So
he would only say we would hang out with Hatcher after. Actually, he would be like, "Hey, just so you know, you're the only person I would let go to any formal with my niece. So you're welcome." I was like, "Oh, well, thank you. I had a fun time."
Yeah. but Scottie's always had a lot of pride in Tennessee. I mean, he recognizes himself as a Tennessee guy. And what's it mean these days right now when you were able to not only, represent our country at Air Force, but also, like I said, represent your home roots of Tennessee and now doing it at a high level.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's funny because actually Cody Chittum, obviously he was at the Big 12 tournament and I kind of sat down there by him. And we just sat there and chatted. He was just like, yeah, I mean, I was pretty much teammates with you now. And, it was cool because he was always in our room and I knew Cooper Flynn and that family really well. But back in the day when I was in college, they did those charts of kind of where NCAA qualifiers were from, this, that, and the other. And I was the only one qualifier from Tennessee. Right now there's 4 or 5 and just continuing to see that build has been incredible. They counted Elijah Oliver, but I guess he graduated from Illinois at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just kind of it's exciting. And just to, as you were saying, just to see where the potential can go in 5 to 10 years. We're obviously getting more competitive. We were kind of looked at as not being that way, but when I was in high school and everything, people were only recruiting out of Chattanooga, really. But now with Young Guns Nashville going on everywhere, Knoxville is doing really well. It's kind of spread out throughout the state. Memphis, obviously, with Christian Brothers, they've always been very prestigious. So everybody's getting better and better. And I think that guys getting this college experience want to go back home and share that knowledge and give back to guys, because that's really where it's at. And I like, and it's all about the connections too. Because I would say, like you were saying earlier too, that I don't think the talent's better now, but there's more people that are getting the exposure out there and like coming back and be like, oh, I know this kid. And that's kind of how college recruiting works as well. Hey, we've got this stud out of, let's say, Father Ryan, right? And we got the coaching in the back for him. We've gotten so and so from him before already. Let's keep this relationship going and build. So I think it's only going to get better and better. And I just kind of feel like a big brother, I guess, in this process, because I mean, before Cody Cleveland, I guess, was somebody that I looked up to before. Brandon Bruner went to South Dakota State. Yeah. So like we were kind of like a few of the big signings when I was Schrader, Austin was, a couple of those Franklin guys were they went to Chattanooga as well and kind of like helped me along the way. So like I kind of thank them for, kind of blessing me into the process. And, Schrader was ripping off my shoulder day one. He didn't take it easy on me. And like, no, I'm serious, but like I appreciated that. Like, hey, welcome to college wrestling, buddy. Like I got cauliflower the first week that I was there because I got my butt beat so much.
Yeah, no, but that's that's the welcoming process that just goes with Division I college wrestling. I mean, it's such a grind. I mean, I'm just there's no way that anybody can convince me that there's a tougher thing to do in college than Division I college wrestling. It's just, I mean, especially now, this level of talent that's in all the rooms now. It's just tougher and tougher and tougher every year, and it's crazy.
Absolutely, so, and it's kind of different now too with the high school dynamic. Everybody's wanting to get all these matches and stuff early. There's a lot of exposure, and there's good and bad to that, in the sense of like coaching. Like we're getting these kids that have 400 matches on their high school career. Yeah. They get to college and they're burnt out, which is where like I think it was beneficial for me to play football and kind of not really know where I was at nationally. Right. More or less, and like have that time off and then progressively get better as time went on. And I guess there's good and bad and there's, situations to everything. But I think for myself, especially, is like once I hit the ground running in college, it was better for me that I had less matches going in because I didn't do any summer wrestling. I thought I was going to go to college and play football. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I went to Virginia Beach and then it was like, all right, football season, like spring football practice. So, and then we were, I mean, obviously really good at football, paid off, but I thought football was more fun, but I was just better at wrestling. So, and I never wanted to believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, as soon as you got to Chattanooga, obviously it was great to see because like I said, again, I've known Scottie for a long, long time. And so he got there and I think Mark Ellis got his hands on you and that really took you, really helps you level up and started making some noise on the national level, when it get Division I college level. And it was so cool to see just because, I mean, you talk about an under the radar kid. It wasn't like Scottie was getting recruited by, the big time schools. I mean, he went to, he's Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Riverdale High School, went to Chattanooga, and then just started clipping off, some guys that were obviously higher nationally ranked than him. And it was just awesome to see. It really was. So, and now looking where he's at now with just the success that he's not only had in his competitive career, because, he was on the, the senior level, going for a little while, and now he's doing a great job, at the Air Force Academy. I mean, of all places. I mean, what an amazing place to be able to not only call home, but to call a job, huh?
Yeah, no, it's pretty sick. Getting to work with America's best and brightest, as they call themselves. Some guys, they're very street smart and everything, but obviously they're really good guys, and I've learned a lot through that and how to work. And being at Chattanooga, where like, I mean, Coach Ellis, as you were saying, would call me up, Boykin, all right, down here at 9:30. Yeah. Don't know what I'm signing up. Don't know what I'm getting into, right? And it's pretty much just a grind match for an hour. And then, at Cornell, kind of like a different I mean, it's a high-level wrestling room, and I was there kind of like during COVID and a little bit after where they're more individual-based, so they pretty much like will wrestle with guys, but there's always kind of like coach with eyes on them. Mm-hmm. But it's like throughout the day, kind of like get your workout in. Like if you're wrestling with a freestyle guy, you're pretty much with that guy for the day. There's not like, you don't have to go to the team practice after, which is like unique and neat and everything. And now I'm like at the United States Air Force Academy where like these dudes are like routine based, like they are on it, and they're different level, and they're super smart. And sometimes they're too smart for their own good. I wish that like, and somebody was asking me about this the other day, like, you know, how are Wyatt and Sam and like Gianno, like our national qualifiers, how are those guys are people? I was like, dude, these are like the nicest guys that I know. They're going on like to do really successful things. Wyatt's doing WCAP. Sam got into like a NATO Air Force program, which is like the Top Gun of Air Force. So he's going to fly like super awesome fighter jets.
Wow.
And then Gianno is doing like Space Force acquisitions. And like, you know, it's funny. I was telling people, I was like, if Wyatt was a little bit more like butthole-ish, I would keep it PG on here. Like he was kind of like meaner out there on the mat. Like I would pray for whoever has to wrestle him, and I would pray for myself every day who would have to wrestle.
I know. I know. It's crazy because I met Wyatt last year at the U20, whatever. No, actually, no, it was at the Open. And I was a big fan, just of watching him wrestle, and then his NCAA tournament last year, and then just to get the chance to meet him, and he's just a really, really cool dude. But to your point, I was like, this dude is a big young man. I mean, he's huge. I was like, dang.
He weighed in at like 240. Yeah, he weighed in at like 240 something at nationals, probably like 250. And they did one of those DEXA scans of him when he got back to the Air Force Academy. And like it just measures your body composition, right? And it's like how much of your body is muscle, how much is fat. This dude was 211 pounds of pure muscle.
Jeez.
Wow.
I think like his body fat was like like less than 15. Yeah,
that is crazy. Wow. Well, I mean,
freak.
You see it. Yeah, you can 100% see it. But that's cool. He's going to the WCAP program. That'd be awesome for him. And like I said, he'll represent our country in multiple competitions. That's for sure. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But you were talking about obviously the growth of Tennessee wrestling and just how we're leveling up here in the state. Does that help you out from a recruiting standpoint, knowing the fact that you already have quite a few relationships built in our state?
Oh yeah, with it getting better, it just kind of makes my job a little bit easier in the sense of like I had like, so example, I'm recruiting, so Logan Fowler is committed to us.
Yep.
I've known Logan Fowler since he could walk. And now I'm talking to Cy, his little brother, about because he's in the next class. So it's just like I kind of have this relationship with them already. And like I think Fowler's, I mean, he lost early, but I think he's one of the best recruits that we have in the state. Pound for pound, probably, if not the best. Right. And like I just kind of have my foot in the door with that because I wouldn't say he was a kid like me because he actually has gotten some pretty good sort of he's been seen a lot by a lot of people and put himself out there. So I've gotten to get a hold of him early enough that we were kind of like the top two in the process, right? And then it came down to us two, and he ended up wanting to be a pilot really bad more than anything. So that ended up being the end decision for him too. But that being said, like there's a bunch of other kids too, like that we've just been trying to reach out to, and I'm not kind of scared to ask, and I know their coaches. Either I wrestled them in college or they know of me from high school or whatever. But yeah, I mean, with it building, it's just going to be a matter of time before like there's just a big footprint in Tennessee wrestling, and it's just going to keep developing and developing, especially when the Cooper Flynn's and the Cody Chittums go into coaching after they're done. Right? It's only going to get better and better from there. And like those guys are really, really big names. And there's actually a lot of Tennessee guys that are in coaching, right? Like Coach Ward from Saudi Daisy, Jordan Lean went to the Baylor School. Like, there's more Tennessee wrestling in college coaching than you would imagine. Cody Cleveland used to be up there. He was at the Citadel. There's a lot of guys that are actually Tennessee, and like Jordan Lean always like, because he knew me from a young age too. And it's kind of like, me with Fowler sort of thing. Like, hey, we had this relationship for so long. Like he's always wanted me to coach with him, and it's just kind of never lined up. But I really love both of those guys. Really, really good. And they're like, I know that I've actually called a lot of them for just advice, and I've called you for advice. And it's a different landscape, that's for sure, but wouldn't trade anything for the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, in Tennessee, we're proud of where we're going because we are, every year we are producing more and more and more Division I recruits. I mean, this last year, since Kenny and I started doing this podcast pretty consistently, I mean, we've had, how many college commitments? Just one after the other, Not with smaller school commitments. We're talking, Jake Stacy's going to Little Rock, Jarvis Litter's going to App State, Landon DeSalle's going to Ohio State, Cooper Hilton's going to Michigan. I mean, those type of things, and it's like consistently happening now. It's really, really super exciting for our sport for sure. So it's neat. But I talk about another exciting thing is that I saw a picture when I was flipping through, I think Instagram the other day, and so all 3 service academies this year had an All-American, which is really cool because you would think the service academies. It's just because it's just crazy because I really didn't, honestly, I had no idea what kind of goes into like service academy as far as structure, schedule, that type of stuff. I assumed it was hard and whatever, but they were never really known for just, for Division I wrestling. You would never get like any consistency. But now I'm telling you right now, between what Sam's doing at Air Force, what Kerry Colat's doing at Naval Academy, and what Kevin's doing at Army, at West Point, you can go to these service academies now and you can achieve your goals without question. I mean, the game has totally changed. You can go down that route, and I'm telling you, you'd be very, very competitive on the Division I landscape, which has really not been the case, for a while. So it's pretty cool. So, and that went to the Air Force Social on Friday between sessions.
Oh yeah. You did. I saw you over there.
Shocked. And this is a shout out to make sure you tell Sam to watch this part of it at 1 hour and 6 minutes. I mean, what Sam Barber has done there is awesome. I mean, I literally was just walking around looking for another friend of mine, and then all of a sudden I ran into Heilman. He's like, "Hey, our social's down there. Go down there. Scotty's down there." And I was like, "Oh shoot, all right." So I went down there. It was a swarm of people from Air Force. I was shocked how many people were there supporting Air Force at the national tournament last week. It was so great. And man, Sam Barber, you are the man. It's awesome. What he's produced there.
I mean, he's definitely produced it to what it is. I don't know if you saw this stat, we put it out today, but we're the first service academy to get top 25 for 2 years in a row.
Wow.
All service academies got an All-American.
Yeah.
As you were saying, like our support system is through the roof. It was like literally a swarm of blue down there in that downstairs of McFadden's and everything. Like, a lot to be excited about. We got a lot of good talent coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like truly like when you put the work in and you have good people working together for amongst a common goal, like this is what can happen. I'm not saying that it was bad before, but I mean we just got a big wave right now and we're riding it, and it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And what do you, so now you were talking like now we're on the service academy kind of thing here, and you were talking earlier about just how structured and how basically what the the day in the life is a little bit different when you're at a service academy. Give us a little bit about like what would day in the life would be of an Air Force wrestler.
Yeah, so they have what's called like M&T days, which is basically like if you're in high school or something like that, it's basically a block schedule. So we'll give an example of a T day because it's one of their busier days. Right now, so a T day basically they'll have a lift at either 6:30 or 7. That's just basically because it's the only time that we can get them in there, and if they want to drill after, there's a little bit of time sort of allocated for that. But basically they have to be back up on the hill, which is where they take all their classes. The TNUSAW is what they call it, and all their classes are kind of in one area. So basically from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we don't see them or hear from them. So they'll have like classes from 9 to 11. Then they have like formation, which is at 11, which is basically there's 40 squads. They all get together and they all just kind of like march in and eat lunch. They all have to go to that. So they'll eat lunch for a little while. Another class will go on after lunch. And then after that, they get a little bit of free time kind of before practice. And then we'll have practice. Usually, so that class will go from probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock to 3:30, and then some of them have it, some of them don't. But then practice is at 4:15, and then 4:15 to 5:45, 6 o'clock. the wrestling, and then 6 o'clock, kind of like have to have a hard cut because some of them will have squad meetings, some of them will have study hall that they have to go to. The
Right.
younger guys have a lot more responsibilities, just because they haven't earned that respect of
Right.
their upperclassmen yet. But the upperclassmen sort of have kind of figured everything out and kind of get a little bit more freedom with their day kind of in the afternoon if they have all their stuff done. So
Wow.
basically, like 7 to 7, you're pretty
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy because obviously traditional college, you may have a class, maybe 2 classes a day, and then you got to get some time to relax. I figure there was a lot of downtime with that though, so it's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
their M days though are a little bit more chill.
Mhm.
It's a lot more chill. It's just kind of like class. Then they have to do formation at 11 lunch, but then we get to practice at 3, and then we're done by 5:30. This, that, and the other. So I like those days a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, the T days are definitely busy, and you have to be there all day.
Wow. So I got to ask you, what's it like coaching a 2-time All-American? When you like Wyatt, Wyatt, and a world champion like Wyatt Hendrickson.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Especially when a third place finish is very, very emotional. Because you're looking at, you get the highs of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Obviously, his goal wasn't to get third this year, but then you got to get the guy to come back and regroup and fight back for third. And he not only did it once, but he's done it twice in this tournament. And just you should see the roar, and just the amount of respect in that arena for Wyatt when he did these the last 2 years. Everybody chanting USA, USA. It's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It was your perspective on how things were going there.
So it's interesting. I think the potential has always been there. I think like the first 2 years that he was there, I wasn't there, and he fell short. I think in the blood round twice or something like that, or he lost to a couple of guys that ended up like having pretty decent careers, and that's when I was at Cornell, and I was sort of done with my wrestling career. Wanted to kind of get into the coaching world and was like, okay, like, if you're an athletic director looking at a resume, like what's going to be the best, right? Like service academy. And it was like really between West Point and Air Force. I wanted to get out of upstate New York just because it was, it's just gray and gloomy over there. So nothing bad about it, but like Colorado Springs is beautiful. As you were saying earlier, like it's a great place to live. But then I got to meet Coach Barber, Coach Joe, Coach Holloman, and then Cody Armstrong, like the trainer that you guys saw earlier, was one of my really good friends at Chattanooga. It kind of like sold it to me, but what really sold me was like the potential that Wyatt had. Him not All-Americaning kind of like was more or less like kind of like better for me in this sense because like, hey, if I get this guy on the podium, I did this to this, right? But then I get there kind of day one, and I'm like, all right, I've seen this guy wrestle. Like, I don't know. He looks sloppy with his technique. Like, let me just see what I can do with him. He's just like a young puppy is what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
But that dude gets a hold of you and, like, you don't let go. So, like, it's crazy. It's just like, okay, now I see what's happening. And I see, like, I kind of saw the flaws in how he was getting beat early. Like, he was shooting with his head down. He's just sloppy kind of like in general. So like my main focus was building his technique to be slower and a little bit crisper. It's not a matter of a fact of like him wrestling hard. He wrestles hard, but it's a matter of him like slowing down, thinking about feeling techniques. And like you're kind of like contradicting because it's like, hey, you kind of don't want your wrestler to think too much when he's out there. And you want him to be free. That's not the case for Wyatt because he goes like full spasm mode, and that's never good. And that's kind of like what happened in his NCAA semifinals match this year, right? Yeah. He got the first takedown in the first 5 seconds, and like, to the average person, everybody's like, "Oh, that's really good." Well, like me as his coach, that's like work with him day in day out, like kind of through this whole process, I was like, "This is not good." Because I could just see that he's got like 2 modes of him wrestling. He's like super spazzy and just kind of wrestles out of control, which is what happened. And then there's cool, calm, controlled Wyatt where he's hitting his leg attacks, his hips are in, his head is up.
Yeah.
And that's hard to stop. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like being a minimal. Like if you wrestle and then you just put yourself in a good position every time, he's gonna win the match just because of how good and strong he is in those positions, and also like he's not gonna ever get tired. But
Yeah.
when he gets in those spazzy modes, he just shoot until he gets it. And then like these good guys, like you can get away with it with, Joe Blow from whoever else, nobody really cares, right? But when it comes to those big time matches and those guys that are trained that wrestle big guys every day, they're gonna slow you down, and they're realizing like, okay, like just hold position, whether they'll strum a little bit, and then we'll pick and choose our attacks, which is kind of like what we're doing. So he's still scratching the surface on how good he can actually be. And like I think him training WCAP to where he can wrestle full time and feel out these positions a little bit better and have more individualized training is going to be the best thing for him. And I genuinely do think that he's only scratching the surface on how good he can be. He's beat Mason Paris 7-0, ends up getting tagged. Like, sorry, no offense. I don't think that he would care like that. I'm saying this, but the situations that we've been in, we've been winning big matches, and we just like somehow find a way to lose them. Where we can put together a good, solid training block of good, individualized, detailed training. There's nobody in the world that can beat him. Maybe Gable. Like I don't know. Gable's pretty good. What's dropping my AirPod, but
yeah, he's pretty good. But
I mean, really, like
wrestling well. So
yeah, I mean that dude's just a freaking general. We'd like to, obviously catch him off of a WWE training block where he hasn't been wrestling super long. But even then, like he's still really good.
Yeah, he's still really good. So that's awesome. But no, he's a great kid. He's like I said, you guys have not only done a great job with him from a competitive standpoint, but Wyatt's awesome. So just super proud to know him.
Oh yeah.
But well, that's awesome. Well, Scottie, man, you get us a lot of great insight on training and recruiting and just everything. Kenny, you got anything else? I got one more question for him.
We might have the same question.
What's
Well,
that?
probably not. I was gonna ask you to give maybe some advice to, the kid in Tennessee who's just living their life and they think they're pretty good at wrestling, and maybe they want to wrestle at Air Force Academy or something cool like that. Like, what advice would you give them? How should they be living their life right now?
See, that's why me and Kenya do this show. We're
Yeah,
right here.
absolutely. I think, and Coach Hatcher, you can speak to this, but I think like, for me individually, especially like kind of being in the same shoes as you guys are, is just being a really, really good person, being the best person you can be, right? Introducing yourself to these Tennessee coaches that right? Going to all these training camps, getting all these opportunities that you can do, right? Put your name out there, email the coach, email a bunch of coaches, right? Attach it, put like some statistics on there and like a quick highlight tape. We don't, and like kind of inside trade information, whatever. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to watch like the first couple minutes, right? And then we watch the first couple minutes of the highlight tape, and then we'll go look on like Flow Wrestling. Like we'll look at how you can wrestle a whole match throughout a tournament, right? More or less on the backside, right? Kind of like how you respond if you're ever in that situation, But I think just wrestling hard and giving it everything you can, because you never know really how good you are until you put yourself out there and you shoot for the stars, or shoot for the moon. I guess you fall amongst the stars, and that's kind of like what I've done throughout my career. There's no reason that I should be in the positions that I've been in. I like our high school wrestling room was our driver's ed room. We had to move the cars off of our mess before practice every day. Now I've got like literally Gabe Dean, like Kyle Dake on speed dial, like because they're some of my best friends because I train with them and everything. But like that's just coming from being a good person, right? And training my butt off every day. And honestly, just kind of like you can't be scared to take a little bit of risk. You're never gonna achieve anything if you don't try, That's true in gambling, which could be bad. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true in life. Like you just don't be scared. I would never think. I thought that I was going to end up in Tennessee forever. I love Tennessee. Tennessee's my home. Miss my family, miss my mom, my dad. I go like hunting and fishing with them all the time. But I'm kind of like in this journey right now, and I'm excited to see what's next for me. Right. If you would have said that I was living in Colorado Springs coaching wrestling at the Air Force Academy when I was in high school, I would have laughed in your face, been like, yeah, this is a joke. Like I hate wrestling, but no, like seriously, like
I'll be coaching football here, Chris.
yeah, literally, I'm about to be trying to go to Tennessee Knoxville, right, and all this stuff. But and that's kind of like the thing too is not being too hard on yourself, getting a little bit better every day. As you saw me at Chattanooga, Coach Hatcher, like Coach Ellis beat the crap out of me every day. Preseason sucked. Like it was the worst thing I'd ever done. And I just was just like, all right, like I don't know that it's not like I went up to the coaches and wanted to quit, but like I had to take every day, one day at a time. Like what challenge am I going to face next and try to win the little battles, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was really good at getting on legs. Like let's try to finish one shot today. That's literally the point. Like you're talking to yourself to try to get one takedown in a college room. And so where like I was a state champ before and it came easy. I'm literally looking for one takedown. So like you get that one takedown. All right, now let's try to get two. Now let's try to make it through the period up. Right now, let's try to make it through 2 periods up a match. So, it's not an easy thing. You guys were talking about this earlier. Like this is probably the hardest thing that you can probably put yourself through. Yeah. You can be good at this sport, and like Coach Ellis and you did a good job. Hey, you guys can be good, right? But if you want to be great, you'll go climb that rope 10 times.
Yep.
Like it's those little things that you're like, all right, like. I'm going to go do that. And it's just like constant battle of just ever changing 1% better kind of is a cliche thing. This is kind of like a long answer to a short question, but there's just a little bit of everything that you can be doing. But I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is just being the best person that you can be physically, mentally, academically, right? You got to give yourself the chance. If you don't have grades, you can't even really be looked at. So I think that's the long answer to the question there.
I love it.
No,
like
great stuff.
You gave it like a part of an answer that no one else has, I think, ever said, which was like, be a good person. I feel like that's so true because you could be the best wrestler in your room, in your state, one of the best in your recruiting class. But if you're a jerk to your teammates or you don't work hard whenever it's hard, or if you're not respecting your coach, like no one's going to want to work with that for 4 years in college. So, I mean, I think that's awesome advice. I'm happy you said it.
Oh, I like it too.
No, it's a big thing. And I think that's truly my biggest asset that I can offer for myself is, hey, I'm a good person. And I've always kind of had that in my back pocket, right? And people always want to be around good people. And that's what I constantly hear at this level. There's definitely a different mode that you want to turn on whenever you get in wrestling mode, but that's just all business. But as soon as that comes off, you got to be a good person, right? Your family, your friends, your younger guys that you're bringing up, like they all look up to you. Everybody sort of looks to you in a way. And somebody's learning something from you. And how do you want to be, sort of seen by them is kind of how I do it. Because I always want people to have something good to say about me,
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Love it. Scottie, you're the man.
No, you're the man. Thank you for having me on here. It's been fun.
I was one of Scottie's coaches before. Now we're just good friends. So it's all
it's really good friends.
Now him and I and Cody go out. And
I remember the first practice. I was like, "Who is this John Stamos looking dude putting us through the hardest practice?" You know what his thing was too? He would be like, "All right, one more," and then be like, "All right, one more." All right, one more of this. Oh, come on. You did that all the time.
That's all rumors, Kenya.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I believe it.
Scottie, we really appreciate your time, my man.
No, thank you for having me on. It was cool.
I'll see you and Cody at the end of the next month in Vegas at the trials.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Can't wait. All right, man. We appreciate you. Scottie's awesome. Yeah, he is. He's one. I mean, I'm telling you what, he's probably one of the most liked kids that's ever came out of Tennessee. Most like everybody loves Scottie.
And where he's at is like such a great testament to the advice that he gave.
Come on.
Yeah. Seriously. Even before we started, you were like, "This is just a great guy." And look, it sounds like being a great guy's gotten pretty. Obviously some other things on top of it too, but like, people help people that they like. People want to. You end up in good places whenever people around you know that you're a good person. So I think that's awesome. That's perfect advice.
Yep. He's got a bright future. I mean, he's still young in the coaching ranks. I mean, he's, I'm not saying he'll go anywhere else besides because he's got a great gig now, Air Force. I mean, golly, why wouldn't you you know, embrace that position. Just, you know, I mean, especially with the job that they're doing there as a staff and what Sam's building there. But yeah, he's, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if a bunch of people start trying to poach him. I mean, he's, you know, he's got a lot of coaching potential. Plus, you know, he's getting into the recruiting side of it. He's got great personality. He's going to be a great recruiter. So yeah, it's just a great coach in general. So there we go. That's it. I think we went back to our power 90 minutes.
Yeah, power hour and a half.
Power hour. Shoot. Now with these guests, come on now.
And they were all solid, truly. Like,
Oh,
so
man.
obviously they are where they are for a reason, all three of them.
Absolutely. You know, and hopefully, you know, the viewers that not only joined us tonight, but also moving forward, ones that rewatch it, you know, and re-listen to it, they can get a lot of really good wrestling information out of our three guests tonight.
Oh,
and that's why they're so successful.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, why they're so successful. You got a national champ, you know, you got a 4-time All-American, and you got not only a great competitor in his days, but also now a great coach at the Air Force Academy. I mean,
yeah.
pretty good people to learn from.
Yeah. We pulled off a good show. I can't believe that people say yes when we're like, please come on our podcast.
I know. All right. Well, moving forward next week, I know there's a tournament. There's a tournament up in the Clarksville Iron Knights tournament. It's our kickoff to our very, very first. It's very first tournament that's on our Tennessee USA Wrestling schedule. So we have that coming up next weekend, and then the following weekend is NHSCA's, and then also the all the AAU kids duels. So got a lot going on in the next couple weeks. The one announcement I wanted to make to everybody before we get off, which I'm super excited about. I think I had a couple of big announcements before, but sorry for the background. Brentwood Academy's kicking me out now. But so our Young Guns Nashville location has just today officially been accepted into the PNL. PNL, yes.
That's awesome.
We are now in the PNL, the Premier National League. So really excited about it. So not only are we doing the Club Fest here in the southeast part of the country with all of the elite programs here, the club programs down here in the south, but now we're getting into that league as well. So couldn't be more excited. And again, I mean, it's a testament to the kids in our club that have really, you know, in the interest that they've shown, and the coaches in this area that have really believed in our Young Guns Nashville program up to this point. We're only a year and a half into it, so which is really cool.
That's so hard to believe.
Yeah, I was actually kind of shocked to begin with when Jody had first told me. He said, "Hey, the P&L guy wants to reach out to you. He's really, you know, they want to have you in the P&L." And I was like, "Where like the
you're like the P&L?
like the JV league? What do you want? It's one for us. He just wants to host an event here or something, or what?" But he's like, "No, man, you guys are producing some good kids out there. I mean, you got a Tulsa champ, you had Fargo All-Americans, you had this, blah, blah, blah." So he's really they've been taking note as far as like what we been doing here. And it's pretty cool because we're the second team, I believe, that's in the P&L from the South. The first was Ironclad. They're in there, the Ironclad, Alabama, who Jake Elson does a fantastic job there with that. And I think we're the first affiliate program there because obviously we're a Young Guns affiliate. So we're the first affiliate program in the P&L. So yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty excited. Yeah. So I'm excited for our high school guys because I think our high school guys get a lot out of it. We'll be a little bit behind the 8 ball there because obviously those other programs that are in the P&L they're the premier kids in around the country. But it's going to be a great opportunity. But I'm really excited on what it's going to do for our grades 3 through 8. You know, those type of guys who are going to be able to consistently get in there and mix it up with the country's best. You know, at that level. So yeah, crazy excited. Told our coaching staff earlier today, and they were pretty pumped. So now our kids got to level up. Coaches, we got to level up. We got to continue to get better here, and it's going to provide for us here in Middle Tennessee. Just us, you know, it really working.
Yeah. So. Even our guests today, like on an individual basis, when they were giving us advice on like pretty much how to be great, Genesis said like verbatim, you got to step outside your comfort zone. Like you got to step into areas that you don't know you're going to be the best in and just stay there until you're the best. I mean, like this is a prime example. My catcher's still doing the thing.
Shoot, I leave all the stuff to everybody else. I just kind of try to, I don't know. I try to be a good person and bring people around.
There you go.
There you go.
We got a few things going on.
Oh, love it. All right, Kenya. I think they're chasing me out of the school, so we got to start. We're running at about an hour and a half, which is good. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're giving enough to the people.
That's it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear next week on how Kenya's first practice went.
You will.
That's right.
You sure will.
Monday be practice, right? Monday's first practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear
I
about it.
can't wait to tell you guys.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining. Kenya, you're the best.
You're the best.
See you.
Peace.
All right. Later. Thanks, everyone.